Standing here alone.
With most cryptocurrencies, you trade coins for tokens. With Verge currency, you spend currency. The new iOS wallet, now available on the App Store.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Turn 3 Racing Network. As tonight, we are here at ISM Raceway for the Upstate Racing League, fueled by Verge, as they present the Arts Barbershop 125K. Thank you so much for joining me here tonight. My name is KR Stolfus, and in the booth with me here tonight is the highly sought after, mostly by his local police department, that is Kelly Dahl. How you doing, Kelly?
You're not supposed to tell people that, KR. That's the kind of point of the laying low.
Oh, hold on. We'll just rewind it. It's fine.
You need to start going by a different name, I guess.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, but in all seriousness, I am excited for this race. It is our first race of the chase, so top 10 drivers all have their points reset, minus some bonus points that are given out, so everyone's kind of on a little bit of an even playing field, but those that had a strong season do get to kind of start off with a bit of an advantage, though not too much. I mean, we got Joe Schaefer. He's going to be our points leader coming into this with 1,010 points, and Bill Martin's going to be just 3 points behind him. Steph Marinac, Justin Macduff, Chris Stump, Brian Hacker, Jimmy Mcintyre Jr., Guillaume Fortin, Justin Fuller, and Scott Austin. Those are all your chase drivers. Those are going to be the ones to watch over these next few races, and honestly, that is a stacked chase field.
That it is, and you know, the drivers who didn't make the chase, they're all vying for the best of the rest. Right now, Brandon Otto has 446 points, with Al Smith Jr. only 8 points behind that. So Al was really looking forward to making the chase, but since he can't make the chase, I think he's going to gun for that 11th spot.
And I think that's something that's fantastic about this league. Even if you miss the chase, there's still something to fight for, and really is a couple of people still vying for that. I mean, Al Smith's only 8 points behind, and then you got Hugo Paquette only 6 points behind Al. So we kind of have 3 drivers that are a little bit broken away from the rest in terms of that best of the rest award. We'll be sure to keep tabs on them as well throughout this chase.
Well, guys, we got just about 2 minutes 45 seconds left in this warm-up session, and real quick, I want to talk about last week. We had the All-Star event last week, some outstanding driving going on all night long. If you guys missed out, you can find it over on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Just look for the All-Star Clash fueled by Verge. Check that one out. And Kelly, I know you weren't here for it, but man, you missed a heck of a show.
Yeah, you guys have all been telling me all week long, and I really am disappointed that I wasn't able to make it, but able to make it here tonight for the race that really matters. I mean, last week, fantastic race, but it was all for bragging rights and a little bit of testing for a possible format. But here tonight, it's the real deal. It's the first round of the chase, and we do have a couple of the drivers, from what I've been told, are not going to. A couple of the chase drivers are not here tonight, and will be taking a provisional. And I think they have a good excuse. They're at Daytona.
That is a very good excuse. I know Justin Fuller was talking about it a whole lot and looking forward to his trip to Daytona. So yeah, drivers have one provisional that they can use, and I believe a few of them are using it.
And there really is no other really better excuse to say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm missing this race because I'm going to the freaking Daytona 500. Yeah, I think I'd give a provisional for that.
Yeah, it's a worthwhile little trip, I would say. So, all right, guys, just over 1 minute left. And Kelly, we are coming to ISM Raceway for the first time. You know, this is the debut race for Upstate Racing League here, And not only that, but it is the start of the 6-race championship run that's going to cover the next 5 weeks. What a way to start this chase off at a brand new track.
And I really do not know what to expect from these guys here at this racetrack. I mean, it's also possibly one of the biggest tracks we're going to go to all season, maybe even the biggest track they go to at an even 1 mile. And I think it's going to be the biggest track they've been to since, I think, Milwaukee Mile, the 2nd race of the season. That's the last time they've been to a track that's pretty much over half of a mile.
All right, guys. Well, tonight's race is brought to you by the Western Super Series. Our time trial, which is getting ready to happen, our Arts Barbershop Quick Clip Time Trial Award, and of course, our Rookie of the Year, Brian Rogers Motorsports. All those drivers still going for the Rookie of the Year as we get ready to go qualifying here tonight. Kelly, drivers going to take to the track for the first time. What do you think we'll see here?
I mean, we saw a couple good laps put down by Joe Schaefer and Steph Marinac. I mean, the difference between those two during practice was 1/10,000th of a second. Sorry, I had to double check that one. 1,000th of a second between the two of them. And then you had Bill Martin, even still just as close of a blink of an eye behind them. And even Guillaume Fortin as well. So, I mean, you got a ton of these drivers less than 1/10 of a second apart from each other. And I think until we see these qualifying times roll in, I don't think I can even make a prediction who's going to come out with the pole award.
As the drivers start to roll out, almost everyone immediately taking off on the track. Doesn't look like anyone is too interested in hanging out in a pit lane. I believe that's the first time we've seen all the drivers rush out in a hurry.
Yeah, look at that time from Guillaume Fortin. What a fantastic time. Even faster than anything we saw during practice. 27.030. And I'm pretty confident to say right now, as these times continue rolling in, I don't think anyone else is going to beat that. That is an absolutely insane lap time.
Very quick for sure. Steph Marinac rolling around right now as he's going to try and beat it in that 2 machine. But as you said, man, that 27.031, very fast, very quick on the stopwatch, but a 27.025 from Steph Marinac.
I might have to apologize for Guillaume for cursing him there, but fantastic lap time from Steph Marinac.
Final few seconds of qualifying. Al Smith right now trying to get in a lap, but he is going to run out of time. Our qualifying drawing to a close. That means it is time for our Western Super Series heat race of the night. And our starting lineup for this one brought to you by Best Colorful Creations. Row number 1 going to be Jimmy Mcintyre in the 81, and on his outside, the 1 of Jeremy Carpenter.
In row number 2, we're going to see the 90 of Matt Roll with the 12 of Brian Rogers to his right side.
Row number 3 will be the 5 of Scott Austin and the 96 of Al Smith, and Jeremy Watkins in the 71 machine will bring up row number 4. So a 7-car heat race, 10 laps in the making. And Kelly, these drivers now for the first time are, going to be sharing the track with the others, not in a practice setting.
And I think we just had an issue with Brian Rogers. He wasn't moving on as the rest of the field rolled out, and then removed himself from the racetrack. I think he may be having some technical issues with his rig. So hopefully the 12 can get it all sorted out. I mean, if you're gonna have problems, the heat race isn't a bad place to have it, especially since everyone will be moving on. Pace car now down and away. We're getting ready to go green here. Jimmy Mcintyre leading the field. Green flag's gonna fly. And look at that one machine of Jeremy Carpenter getting a fantastic jump off the start, nearly completely clearing the 81 before turn 1, but that inside line going to be dominant for that 81 machine, and oh, a bit of a wobble from the 1.
Jeremy Carpenter washing up big time. The 90 of Matt Roll moving down to the inside. He's got a good run in front of the 1 machine. Here comes the 96 Al Smith. He's trying to close the gap on Carpenter now. While all of that is going on, the 81 of Jimmy Mcintyre is trying to check out.
And as soon as he got through turn 1, he's had a huge lead, already 0.6 of a second just after the first lap. And that's going to be huge because with this heat race only being 10 laps long, that gap already is going to be difficult to overcome.
McIntyre looking nice and smooth right now. Al Smith in the 96 making a move underneath the 1 of Carpenter. He's going to slide up into third. Scott Austin in the 5 machine. He's having a little bit of connection issue, but he is on the back bumper of Carpenter. And now Al Smith looks like he's going to try and close in on Matt Roll.
Yeah, it looks like he got on the power earlier out of that corner than Matt Roll did, and that's just kind of closed up that gap a little bit. And if those two start to battle, Jimmy Mcintyre has won this heat because them battling is already going to cost them time. And then I think the gap will just be too much to make up. I mean, even at this point, I think the gap's already too much to make up. 0.9 of a second. Jimmy Mcintyre within 3 laps has opened up nearly a full second gap. And here comes Al Smith on the outside of Matt Roll. A fantastic move from Al, just getting the power down way earlier than Matt.
Yeah, Matt Roll now under pressure from the 1 of Carpenter. And Carpenter trying the outside lane. Doesn't look like it's going to work too well coming off of turn number 4, but he is going to get a great run off the corner and complete the pass heading into turn 1.
And he's going to solidify himself in that 3rd place. Another thing to note here tonight, they are running the closed dog leg. This is not running the NASCAR rules. You can't go all the way down. You can only just barely dip below that yellow line or having to come back up onto the racetrack. So no open dog leg for these guys. They have to run the full race circuit.
Jimmy Mcintyre has led all of our 5 completed laps here at ISM Raceway for our first heat race of the night. And he is looking very solid right now in that lead. But the 96 Al Smith really trying to close in on him at just over, or I should say just under a 1 second lead for McIntyre.
And I mentioned before the race that Brian Rogers was having some technical issues. He is back out on the racetrack, only 1 lap down, so whatever problems he was having with his rig, he's now sorted them out. He's back on the racetrack, so good to see that we are not going to be missing one of our drivers before the race even begins.
Yeah, Brian Rogers carrying the University of Vermont Children's Hospital on board camera, taking us around this ISM Raceway. And, you know, he doesn't have any pressure right now. He is going to make the show, so he's in a little bit more of a practice session.
Yeah, this is just good for him to be able to come out and get a few laps under race pace, feel the track a little bit and how it's changing, because the practice did start during the kind of the sunset, and now at this point the sun has essentially all but dipped under the horizon completely, and it is starting to get dark out, and the track will be cooling off, changing its grip level. So it's good for him to get out, feel the track change a little bit. Looking back up in the front though, Jimmy Mcintyre starting to lose his lead a little bit to Al Smith, but white flag in the air, and I think Jimmy's got himself a decent lead for 1 lap.
1 to go, fueled by Verge. Final lap in our Western Super Series heat race number 1. And Jimmy Mcintyre does continue to hold on to the lead. Al is trying to close in on him, but looks like Al is going to run out of time as Mcintyre working his way off of turn number 4. And he is going to punch his ticket for the main event.
Yeah, Jimmy just getting a fantastic jump off, or not really a fantastic jump. I mean, the 1 nearly beat him to the line, but just a good run into turn 1, was able to keep a lot of momentum while everyone else kind of checked up in that corner, and that just opened up a huge lead. And he kind of just won himself that race in the first turn.
All right, guys, we're going to the warm-up session. That means it is time for our national anthems. Please join us in honoring both countries represented by drivers in the broadcast booth.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and their rackets regular, their bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Welcome back to ISM Speedway, where we're just getting set for the Arts Barbershop 125, and we'd like to give a big shout out to tonight's sponsor, Arts Barbershop. Arts Barbershop is a proud supporter of the Upstate Racing League and sponsor of Empire Racing Team of AJ Hamill and Justin Macduff. Located in Morrisville, Vermont, Art has been lowering gears and sharing his love of stock car racing with customers for over 40 years. If you're in North Central Vermont, stop in, get a trim, and tell him you too enjoy watching the Upstate Racing League on Turn 3 Racing Network.
Drivers wrapping up their final warm-up session for the night before they go green flag racing. Tonight's race going to be 78 laps. I almost said 75, but 78 laps is our distance for this one. And as always, lap 61, our honor to Dan Dubuque as well. So, you know, Kelly, 78 laps here at ISM Raceway, with them turning, 27-second lap times. It's gonna be a little quick one if we can get this in without a caution.
Yeah, we were talking about it before the race. I did the quick math, and by my estimate, if they were to go green the whole way, they'll be done this race 35 minutes. And when you think about the fact that they're doing 125 kilometers in 35 minutes, I mean, it kind of puts it a bit more in perspective for me as a Canadian, understanding kilometers a lot more than miles.
Oh, since you're Canadian, I thought it was always maple syrup per mile.
How many gallons of maple syrup consumed per mile? That's more of a a driver metric.
Ah, all right. So lots of maple syrup consumed here at ISM Raceway, I'm sure.
We'll have to ask Guillaume what his efficiency rate is.
Oh my goodness. Well, the 98 of Chris Stump in this warm-up session, he has been the fastest driver, looking to kick the tires on this one and try and pull out a win. This season has seen a lot of different drivers, and some of them have been the newcomers to the league, Kelly. And now that we're into the chase, first race of the chase, are we going to see another new driver, maybe somebody from outside of the chase, try and pick up a win?
In terms of the outside the chase drivers, I don't know if any of them are going to be competing for a win, because I think these chase guys, as I said, they're really strong drivers, and they're also going to be trying their absolute hardest. And I think if a chase driver or a non-chase driver is going to try to barge their way in there, they're going to have to be fast and they're going to have to be tough, because those chase drivers are not going to give them an inch.
Yeah, these chase drivers are laying it all on the line here. They got 6 races in the chase, a doubleheader to close out the season. And I don't know about you, but I'm excited for that night. That is a few nights away. But coming up next week is our Rumar Vinyl Designs 125 at Richmond. Make sure you join us for that one. That is next Thursday night. And Richmond, another 3/4 mile track where these super late models are going to put on a heck of a show.
And these tracks are considered big tracks for these cars, and it's kind of funny that we're going to these two back to back after a full season basically of these really small, really short tracks. I mean, the last race we were at Langley, South Boston, Five Flags, Oxford Plains. Like, that was our last 4 races leading up to the chase. Those are very small tracks, especially like Oxford Plains, where you're pretty much just driving in a big circle because it's just such a small racetrack.
Yeah, Oxford Plains was a unique race as well. A lot of memories from Oxford Plains a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, one of those tracks that always a highlight on my schedule, because I love calling races there with these guys, because I know that track is just going to produce a very fiery race, because it's nearly impossible to pass there. Here it's going to be a bit different. We've got the bigger track, we've got the longer straightaways. I think we'll actually be able to see the drivers race a lot cleaner, and because they won't be forced to bump people out of the way. They'll be able to set up a pass, get a good run. And I think the place we're going to be seeing a lot of moves is possibly into turn 1, because you can come out of turn 4 there and just get that nice long straight there with maybe some good drafting, and you can just throw it to the inside. And I think another place we'll see some passes is coming off of turn 2. You're going to see maybe a few drivers get on the throttle too early, get up towards the wall, and have to check up, allowing some guys to slip underneath them.
All right, this warm-up session has drawn to a close, and that means that once again, it is time to bring you our starting lineup for tonight's event. Row number 1 for the best colorful creation starting grid, the 18 machine of A.J. Hamill, and on his outside, the 98 of Chris Stump.
Row number 2, we're going to see the 6 of Joe Schaefer and the 39 of Bill Martin.
Row 3 is going to be the 20 of Justin Macduff and the 13 of Guillaume Fortin.
Row number 4, we're going to see the 2 of Steph Marinac and the 17 of AJ Rogers.
Row 5 will be the 33 of Hugo Paquette and the 31 of Brad Carpenter.
Row number 6, we're going to see the 81 of Jimmy Mcintyre and the 96 of Al Smith Jr. to his outside.
Row 7, the 1 of Jeremy Carpenter and the 5 of Scott Austin.
Row number 8 will have the 90 of Matt Roll and the 71 of Jeremy Watkins. And then rounding out our 17 car field, that's going to be the 12 of Brian Rogers.
And that is going to do it for our starting lineup here tonight. Lights are out on the pace car. We're getting ready to go green flag racing. The 18 of A.J. Hamill in control of the field. Green light is on, and away we go for the Arts Barbershop 125K.
And AJ Hamill getting a good start through turn 1, but Chris Stump getting the momentum. Oh, problems for AJ Hamill. Oh, big crash. One car up on its side. That is the 6 of Joe Schaefer, and we have our first caution of the night.
The 18 machine looked like he spun the tires trying to put the power down. Let's go on aboard with the 39 of Bill Martin for this start. And an early caution here as the 18 had a good jump, but got loose up off the corner, tried to catch it. The 6 of Joe Schaefer and the 39 of Bill Martin with nowhere to go.
And I think the 18 wanted to keep that car low, but things just kind of snapped on him to the right, and just kicked him right back into the rest of the field. I mean, you saw as soon as he spun those tires, he got low. He was trying to get out of the way, but then as he was trying to regather the car, it just got away from him, and unfortunately going to end the night of a couple of drivers.
So AJ Hamill in the 18 machine has pulled onto pit road as we work our first caution of the night. The 98 of Chris Stump. Got to be counting his blessings on that one. That was a narrow escape for him.
And that is huge for the chase, because that caught Joe Schaefer pretty bad. I mean, he's still out on the racetrack, but that car is mangled. He got hit by the 18 and then went up into the wall and up onto his side, nearly ended up on his roof. Honestly, I'm surprised that car is still out on the racetrack, and I'm trying to see, it almost looks like it's crabbing a little. So there might be some serious problems for that 6 machine, and that is unfortunate, because Joe Schaefer is our points leader coming into the chase. And yes, now he's going to come down pit road as the pits open. That 6 machine going to have to try to get as much of that damage repaired, at least enough that he can drive it in a straight line. What I'm looking at right now, that car is definitely crabbing.
Yeah, that is far from tracking correctly. And that 6 going to be sitting on pit road for quite a while. That is going to be a time-consuming repair to get that thing to where the rear tires follow the front tires correctly.
Bill Martin also coming down pit road. He was caught in that as well, getting into the 18 and the 6 car. I don't think he got really as much damage. Trying to take a look at his car right now. I mean, his car is definitely not looking as bad as that 6 machine, but it still did mangle up that front end quite a bit.
So with AJ Hamill, Scott Austin, Bill Martin, and Joe Schaefer all sitting on pit road for the moment, that will leave us with 13 cars out on the track. Lights are out on the pace car. It is docking away. The 98 of Chris Stump getting on the throttle, and we're going to kick this one off once again as Stump jumps out in front here. The 20 of Joe Schaefer of Justin Macduff trying to close in that gap, but man, Chris Stump really launched that car.
And he opened up a huge gap over Macduff right off the start. And Macduff has got to worry about Guillaume right behind him right now, because Guillaume's already starting to put that pressure on a little bit of a different line. These guys are running through turn 3 and 4 there, and kind of changed up the spacing a little bit. It looks like Macduff may have closed the gap to Stump just a little bit. Now closing it up once again through the turn.
Two very distinct lines coming off of turn number 2. Justin Macduff ran a little bit closer to the wall than the 90 of Stump, and it seemed to have carried some speed for him down that back straightaway as he is really closing in on the back bumper.
Another thing, the reasoning behind these different lines might be just different strategies for tire wear. You know, these guys may, if they push a little bit too hard into the corner, they're going to burn off those tires. And I mention it every week, but for those that are new to this series, these guys start on these tires, they finish on these tires. They are not allowed to change tires at any point in the race. And Macduff now closing that gap to Stump, but at the same time, he's brought Fortin along with him. So as soon as these guys start to battle, I'm sure Guillaume is going to look for a gap to try to get both of them. And this battle for the lead is going to heat up as Macduff is getting inching ever so closer to that rear bumper.
Yeah, the 20 machine getting real close to him. Not able to make a move on him just yet. Catching is one thing, passing is another. And the 20 of Justin Macduff does have a win at the Bull Ring. And Chris Stump still looking for his first win of the season. We might see some fireworks when these two start running side by side. The 98 is Stump, maybe trying to hold on very tightly to this lead and get his first win.
And Stump had a very strong season last year. It's kind of surprising that this year he doesn't have a win, as last year he was able to take 3 wins away during the course of the season, but came up just short in the chase. Now Stump going to go to the high side, allow Macduff to get past him, and I think Stump has just got a bit of a different tire strategy going on. I think he's content to just see if that 20 is going to burn off his stuff, and now we'll see if he's going to let Guillaume go by or if he's going to try to hold on to second place.
So Chris Stump slots into second. Justin Macduff in the 20, now trying to roll away from the field. Guillaume in the 13, down to the inside of Chris Stump. And Stump now looking to fall from the race lead to 4th place, as Steph Marinac in the 2 also taking a peek to the inside.
Yeah, Marinac is just going to follow Fortin through, and Stump not going to offer too much resistance, going to let them by. I think Stump is just trying to save his tires and run a bit more of a conservative race here. It is still very early on in this 78 lap race. We're only rolling onto lap 12 now, so it's definitely not a bad call from Stump, especially if you want to play the points game as well. Why battle someone for the lead and possibly wreck when you can just let him go? And oh, we actually do have a caution here on the track.
We do have one around backwards. That is the 31 of Brad Carpenter. Let's go to our turn 3 instant replay, see what happened to the 31 machine. Coming off of turn number 4, looked like he had a little bit of a wiggle, but keeping it straight down in turns 1 and 2. He's going to go up to the high side as the 81 of Jimmy Mcintyre taking a look on the inside, and Brad Carpenter just going to get loose coming off of turn number 2.
And I'm surprised that Mcintyre was able to make it through that. That was extremely close. I think he may have just lost a little bit of paint off the front bumper of his car with that 31 spinning.
So the field stacking up behind the pace car. And with that, guys, we're going to take a quick little break. No one go anywhere, and we'll be right back after this.
Bowling brings people together.
Right down the middle. You got it. Uh-oh. Good job.
See what you can do, man.
Wait.
That's a strike right there. Bowling brings people together.
Right down the middle. You got it. Uh-oh. Good job.
See what you can do, man.
Wait.
That's a strike right there. family and friends. Go bowling.
Welcome back to the Upstate Racing League Late Model Pro Series fueled by Verge. We'd like to give a big thank you to Verge Currency. Verge is a cryptocurrency designed for people and for everyday use. It improves upon the original Bitcoin blockchain and aims to fulfill its initial purpose of providing individuals and businesses with a fast, efficient, and decentralized way of making direct transactions while maintaining your privacy. Big thank you to Verge Currency, as they've made all of our broadcasts possible this season. And they're really the reason why the Upstate Racing League is able to be brought to you guys. And if you like the Upstate Racing League, want to support them, go to the Upstate Racing League's website. You will be able to find a little, I think it's a tab on your left-hand side of your screen, and you can buy some Upstate Racing League merchandise. I just got some of my own, and if you want to be able to rep this league, you can easily do that.
Lights have gone out on the pace car field, forming up. The 20 of Justin Macduff and the 13 of Guillaume Fortin going to make up the front row for this restart. We still have 13 cars on the track. Brad Carpenter in the 31 serving his EOL penalty for causing this most recent caution. So here we go, Kelly, take this one away.
That pace car pulling down and away now. Justin Macduff will have control of the restart. He gets away fantastically, and here comes Steph Marinac as well. Well, maybe, actually no, he is going to back out. It looks like he was going to be able to challenge Guillaume into turn 1, but decided against it, backed out going into the turn. That's going to allow the 20 and the 13 to get away clean. And looking a little bit further back, I was saying before the race, I don't know if any of these guys that are outside the chase will have a chance for the win, but there's AJ Rogers sitting in 15th, and I believe he's the only driver outside of the chase to have won a race this season. Yeah, that's correct. So that 17 machine, I guess I shouldn't have counted him out too early. He might make a challenge for this.
Yeah, AJ Rogers in the 17 picked up the race win at Five Flags Speedway. Here he is right now running inside the top 5, and he is trying to track down the 98 at Chris Stump. Stump, who led the first 9 laps now and has been all Justin Macduff since then. He took over that top spot, hasn't looked back, but the 13 of Guillaume Fortin still looking for his first win with the Upstate Racing League, finds himself in second place. Tonight might be the night for Guillaume.
Yeah, we'll have to see. He's got himself in a good spot. It is still early on. I mean, these guys are only going to be just starting now to deal with the kind of first signs of tire wear. And that's really what's going to be what decides this race, is who can manage those tires the best and have that long run speed. And we're seeing Guillaume stay kind of close to Justin Macduff, but he's got Marinac absolutely filling his rear view mirror. And we were talking about earlier, Chris Stump, he led the race, but he was running a bit of a more conservative line. And as soon as Macduff got up close to him, he just kind of let Macduff go. So we'll have to see these in the last, I'd say, maybe 10 to 15 laps. I think that's when we're going to see that 98 machine come alive.
The top 5 are starting to pull away a little bit. Hugo Paquette finding himself just under a half second behind the 17. of A.J. Rogers, the 81 of Jimmy Mcintyre, sitting in 7th place with a lot of pressure being put on him by the 96 of Al Smith. These 3 cars have pulled away from our 9th place driver. That is the 12 machine of Brian Rogers Motorsports.
We've got a couple different packs starting to form up here, and we got our top 5 that are still pretty much nose to tail. They are all kind of evenly spaced, and at the moment all 5 of them are just kind of biding their time and just watching the guys in front of them, looking at what that line they're running, and maybe just kind of thinking of what they're going to do here to get the race win. And I'd say those 5 drivers are going to be our favorites. A little bit of a washout from that 17 there as he went way up the racetrack out of turn 2. So don't know if he got in the throttles a little bit too early or what kind of happened with that 17 car, but turn 2 did not look clean for him.
Track starting to darken up a little bit in that racing line. As it heats up, drivers are going to start searching for some grip. We might see them running a little bit higher. This track not known too much for its unique lines, but I have seen drivers in these super late models really try the high side no matter where they're at, whether it's known for it or not.
And now Marinak putting a little bit more pressure on Guillaume, not trying to pass him just yet, so might just be trying to rattle him a little bit, force a mistake. And it is definitely a viable strategy. If a guy's paying too much attention to you in his rear view mirror, he's gonna miss his mark. So Guillaume's gonna focus on what's in front of him, not worry about that 2 machine behind him. But Marinak definitely putting a lot of pressure on Fortin.
Now Marinak really getting through the corner and off better than the 13 machine, and it shows up by the end of the straightaway, but the 13 drives it in very deep.
And I'm thinking that might be what comes back to bite Guillaume. I mean, you look at them in the corner. Everyone else is kind of washing up in the middle. That 2 machine stayed planted on that yellow line. So I think Marinak saved his tires quite well at this point and looking pretty good. I mean, look at everyone else. Those first 2 guys way up the track. If they're stumped, even almost off the corner, he was still on that yellow line. So I think our first 2 drivers have worn off the tires a little bit too much, and the second 2 have been waiting for this moment. And look at that, now he's getting right up to Guillaume.
And Marinak able to roll into the throttle a little bit sooner than the 13, and with both the 13 and the 20 washing up the track off of turn number 1, that will leave an opening down to their inside, especially through this closed off dog leg, and set up the pass going into turn number 3.
And I think at this point Marinak is just waiting for that opportunity. That time around though, Guillaume did keep it quite close to that yellow line, so he may have finally figured out that he was driving it in too deep and is easing off a little bit to save his stuff.
Want to check in on the 1 machine of Jeremy Carpenter. Right now he finds himself in 10th place after starting in 13th. So he has moved forward a little bit, but 5 seconds off the race lead and just under a second behind the 12 of Brian Rogers. But he is in front of Brad Carpenter. Carpenter, who had that spin earlier, has moved forward 2 spots since then, has gotten around the 90 of Matt Roll and the 71 of Jeremy Watkins.
Oh, Guillaume got into the wall that time, and here comes Marinak to his inside. That was the moment that the 2 car was waiting for. He was just waiting for that mistake, and that has allowed Marinak to take over 2nd place. And now let's see if he can chase down Justin Macduff, as Macduff has been able to open up just a small gap, only 0.4 of a second, but that's pretty much the biggest gap that we've got in the top 6, really.
So Guillaume in 2nd place now. Justin Macduff continues to lead, has logged 21 laps as your race leader. A.J. Rogers in the 17 machine still sitting in 5th place, but Hugo Paquette in the 33 has been slowly closing in on this group, and he is going to try and make it now a 6-car train here in that top 6.
Guillaume is struggling. He has completely worn off those tires. I mean, you see it going through turns 1 and 2. He is wiggling a little bit as he's trying to just keep that car underneath him, and that's probably going to allow Stump to get past him at some point here. And Stump has to make a move because there's starting to be a bit of a gap being opened up here by Marinak and Macduff.
So the 13 off of turn number 2 down through the dog leg. The 98 of Chris Stump starting to smell a little bit of blood in the water. Problem is the 17 and the 33 are real close there as well. If the 98 opens the door on the 13 machine and fits his Black Empire Racing machine through the inside, the 17 and the 33 might be able to find a way through.
Yeah, he's kind of just got to wait for Guillaume to make a mistake, and again, that may not happen. Guillaume has been running a bit more consistently these last few laps, been able to resettle that car, cool off the tires a little bit. That grip is starting to come back a little bit to that 13 machine, and we'll have to see if that 98 is going to try to force the issue or if he's just content on waiting.
Meanwhile, the battle up front starting to get a little closer as the 2 has reeled in the 20. Marinak trying to get out in front of Justin Macduff. Macduff trying to push it a little hard. I saw him scrape the wall coming off of turn number 4 last time by. This time, he's going to give it a lot of room, and that 2 machine closing in. He was 2/10 faster that time around.
Oh, and you can tell both Guillaume and Stump are putting the pedal down in turn 2. I mean, the last 2 laps, I've seen both of them start to step out a little bit coming off the corner, and I think Stump is starting to try to look for at least a gap so that he can make a move, because he's seeing Marinak and Macduff kind of disappear into the distance and knows that he needs to get around Guillaume if he wants to try to close that gap up. I mean, been putting the pressure down, but just hasn't been able to find the opportunity to make the move. This time, though, we'll see Guillaume again, a little bit of a wiggle. That car is not settled at this point, and he is struggling to keep it underneath him.
Steph Marinak in the 2 machine, diving down to the inside of the 20 of Justin Macduff, and Marinak gonna complete the pass off of turn number 4. New leader, Steph Marinak, as he leads his first lap of the night. Meanwhile, the 17 of AJ Rogers battling with the 33 of Hugo Paquette. Hugo all over these inside outside. Hugo wants this 5th spot. AJ Rogers not giving it up without a fight.
Oh, those 2 nearly get into each other through turns 3 and 4 there, as they are still battling it out. And these 2 guys are outside of the chase, but they're both fighting for that best of the rest award. And with Otto not being here, Paquette is in a good position to try to take over that, but he's got Al Smith right behind him, and Al Smith is 6 points ahead of him in that best of the rest award. So Paquette trying to get as many points as he can here in the first race of the chase.
Riding on board with the 96 of Al Smith as he follows in the tire tracks of the 33 machine. Al having a quiet night so far, but he has been moving his way forward. We'll see just how far forward he can get. That 96 machine right now in 7th.
And while we were talking about those guys, Chris Stump was finally able to make the move on Guillaume Fortin. So Stump now going to have to try to chase down Macduff and Marinak. But one of the things that was going for Stump is that he was so conservative with his tires the first few laps. But then when I saw him trying to go after Fortin, he spun the tires quite a few times coming off of turn 2. And I think that has pretty much taken away that conservative start that he's had. And I think at this point, Marinak seems to have the best tires on this car right now. He has been running very smoothly. Haven't seen any issues from that 2 machine, and he's opened up a 0.3 of a second gap on Macduff since he passed him.
Yeah, Steph Marinak's best lap so far tonight, a 27.198. Justin Macduff, a 27.162. So that's their best laps. But last time around, Macduff was 1/10 faster than Marinak. So this battle for the race lead isn't over just yet.
Yeah, I think this race, the battle for the race lead might continue on, maybe even until the end of this race. And Justin Macduff, even though he lost the lead, is not letting it go. He wants to go after Marinak. And a few seasons ago, I think Marinak was our runner-up. I think that was 2 seasons ago. And I think after that, I mean, he was, I think, 3rd place last year. So Marinak trying to bounce back. I don't think he's had a race. Actually, sorry, I'm wrong. He's had 2 race wins this season. I was thinking of last year that he was struggling to find a win. Marinak's got 2 race wins. Had a pretty good bounce back season after the rough season he had last year, and I think Marinak really wants that championship.
And Marinak would love nothing more than to pick up a championship, but the 20th Justin Macduff, he'd like to crown himself as well. These 2 drivers really going at it. And Macduff having the 1 win at the Bull Ring. No one has 3 wins so far this season. Marinak would become the first 3-time winner and take over leading the category for most wins. We're going to have 5 races after this left. Plenty of time for these drivers to score a lot of points, but the 2 and the 20 right now are the class of the field.
Yeah, but watch those cars. They're not really having any grip anymore. They're struggling to find it. We watched them get a little bit squirrely both out of 2 and out of 4, and we're just over halfway through this race. There's still quite a few laps to go, so at this point it may no longer become who's the fastest, more who's more in control of their race car at this point.
So as Marinak out front leading the race, Chris Stump sitting in 3rd, Guillaume Fortin 5th. The 17 of AJ Rogers rounding out your top 5. Hugo Paquette in the 33. After battling with the 17 of Rogers, he is now coming under attack from the 96 of Al Smith. And Al looking very solid here, but the 81 of Jimmy Mcintyre closing in on Al. So now the battle at the middle of this top 5 field is very close.
Yeah, and Al Smith actually gave the 33 of Paquette just a little bit of a bump through turns 3 and 4 last time around, as I think Paquette just had to check up a little bit. That did force Al to check up a little bit more and open up a gap once again, but I think next time around Al might try to make a move on Paquette instead of just staying right behind him.
Working lap 49 of 78. I do want to point out that the 90 machine of Matt Roll has gone behind the wall. That leaves us with 12 cars out on track. The 71 of Jeremy Watkins right now finds himself running in 12th place. He started 16th, so he has moved forward. That 71 right now running all by himself, but he is in danger of going a lap down here in, well, the leaders are just about 10 seconds behind him.
Yeah, this is one of our longer tracks here on the schedule. I mean, the last few weeks we've been dealing with about 15, 16-second lap times. This week we're looking at about 27 seconds. I mean, last time around, Steph Marinak ran a 27.885, and really these 2 leaders have just kind of taken off from the rest of the field. I mean, I was talking about Chris Stump had to get around Guillaume before they took off, but that did not happen. I mean, we got a 1.4 second gap separating the 20 of Macduff and Chris Stump in 3rd place. So Marinak and Macduff are just kind of running their own race at this point.
That they are. The 96 Al Smith, he had a big moment coming off at turn number 4, big time sideways, but gathered it back in. Still a little loose when he got to turn number 2. Once you get these tires hot, Kelly, it takes a few laps to chill them out, get them to settle down, not to be so angry at you, and it can cost you a lot of time.
It can, but it is a little bit easier to cool off the tires when you're at a larger track like this, as the track has a bit more time to cool off between each lap. And then also with the fact that this field being a little bit smaller, that track isn't going to quite get as hot. So these guys will be able to cool down the tires a little bit more. It is also nighttime, so track surface is a little bit cooler. I mean, the track is only 86 degrees Fahrenheit at this point, so it is possible to cool down these tires, but just every time they come out of turn 2 and turn 4, they're putting that power down so quickly that it's starting to just spin those tires every time.
Chris Stump in the 98 machine has pulled a little bit away from Guillaume. Now make that AJ Rogers, as Rogers has worked his way around the 13 machine. And the struggle for Guillaume right now, as he is sawing on that wheel, is trying to put the power down, as the 98 of Chris Stump, big time checkup, he is going to lose a lot of speed. The 17 of Rogers and the 13 of Guillaume looking like they're going to try and pass him on the inside.
Rogers is able to get past Guillaume, not quite, so now Guillaume is going to have to try to look for that pass here on coming out of turn 2. Another little bit of a wiggle coming out of that 98 machine, and we're seeing that from nearly everybody every lap coming out of turn 2. That is just a killer point in this racetrack. We already saw it claim the 31 of Brad Carpenter a little while ago, and we may see it claim at least one more driver before this night is through.
The Rogers finding himself in third place right now. The 98 is Stump in fourth. Big wiggle from the 33 of Hugo. And it is amazing that these drivers are getting up on the wheel here and able to catch these cars lap after lap.
Yeah, we've seen them had to make a few saves, and I think the biggest one may have been Guillaume a little while ago, maybe about 20 laps ago, when he was still in front of Stump battling for that position. I saw him just kind of get on the throttle and just drift that car all the way through turn 2 before finally catching it as the straightaway came around.
Steph Marinac out front. He is led for 21 laps. It'll be 22 this time around. Justin Macduff has led for 27. The Marinac trying to take away leading the most laps. Gonna do it here in about 5 laps. And Kelly, these 12 drivers now out on track with this race starting to wind down with 20 laps to go. They all seem kind of spread out at the back, but in the middle, man, they're still fighting like crazy.
Yeah, now Stump has been able to pull away from Fortin, and now Fortin is dealing with Hugo Paquette on him, and Paquette has got to be careful when he makes this move, because he's got Al Smith right on top of him, and Paquette and Smith are both battling for that best of the rest of the board. Here comes that 33 machine diving low on that back straightaway through the dog leg, and he's going to get around the 13. Al Smith going to see if he can follow him through, but Guillaume going to dive down off the corner and hold on to his position. And now as we roll on to lap 61, we'd like to take a moment to honor Dan Dubuque, one of the league's founding members who sadly crossed life's finish line a few weeks ago. Dan's career in the Upstate Racing League spanned the second highest amount of starts at 97, which consisted of 1 top 5, 33 top 10s, and best points finish of 5th. Dan was with Al and the rest of the team at the very beginning, and is going to be truly missed as a friend, a racer, and a supporter. We race in his honor every week now from here on out.
With 17 laps to go, Justin Macduff still staying within striking distance of the 2 machine of Steph Marinac, but they have pulled away a 2.2 second gap to the 17 of AJ Rogers. Rogers and Chris Stump now really starting to open up a gap over the 33 of Hugo Paquette, as Guillaume Fortin in the 13 continues to fight that car, and he's wiggling that wheel hardcore coming up off of turn number 2.
Yeah, we're gonna have to keep an eye on these guys as it's only gonna get more difficult for them as they go, as the night continues on. Paquette, a bit of a checkup there off of 4 that allowed Guillaume to get pretty close to him, but he ended up checking up as well and backing way off. So that kind of also allows Al to get within the clutches. Just behind them, there's Jimmy Mcintyre just quietly watching those 3, and maybe looking for his opportunity. Al Smith, big wiggle, almost kind of fishtailing down the back straightaway there before finally catching it.
The 81 machine of Jimmy Mcintyre sitting in 8th place as we ride on board with him. No pressure behind him, so all he's got to do is look ahead, and he does see 3 cars right in front of him being the 4th car. As the 33 big wiggle there off of turn number 2, Guillaume taking a peek to the inside, nothing for him there. And man, 14 laps to go. This race winding down quickly.
And Guillaume taking another look. Oh, big wiggle there as he caught that yellow line, and that banking transition nearly took him out and nearly brought him into the pit wall there. Good save from that 13 machine to hold on to it. 410 now going to actually, even though he had that big wiggle, he didn't lose much ground to that 33. It did kind of cut the momentum that he was having off of that corner, but he was still right on that bumper.
Guillaume taking a peek to the inside off of turn number 4, nothing there as Hugo holds on to 5th place for the moment. But the 98 of Chris Stump and the 17 of AJ Rogers, that is a battle for 3rd place. They are running nose to tail with 12 laps to go. Meanwhile, up front, Steph Marinak is starting to slowly creep away from the 20 of Justin Macduff.
I think this just shows how much better these two drivers were on their tires than everyone else. They've been able to keep their lap times up and been able to just pull away from everyone else, but now Steph Marinak has been able to save him just that little bit better, just has that little bit of extra grip, and now starting to walk away from Macduff. Macduff has got to find where the grip is on this track and find that optimal line before Marinak closes this thing out.
Marinak coming up on the 71 of Jeremy Watkins. First time our leaders have encountered lap traffic, and it is with 10 laps to go. Watkins running a high line here. Looks like Jeremy's going to try and stay out of the way once the field catches up to him.
And that is likely what he's going to do. And yeah, he's going to go all the way up near the wall through turns 1 and 2, allow the leaders to get past without any sort of issue. And really, I think if you compare just these two lead drivers to maybe watching the pack of Paquette, Fortin, Smith, and Mcintyre, you can just see how the difference in grip. I mean, Marinak and Macduff not really spinning the tires much off of 2, but you see that pack of 4 off of every corner. You see one of those guys just getting just a little bit loose each time.
We go on board again with the 96 Al Smith. You see the 33 Hugo really fishtailing coming up off the corner. Meanwhile, the 98 of Chris Stump, he had a big moment coming off of turn number 2. He's lost a lot of ground to the 17 machine.
And I think at this point, Chris Stump just has to cut his losses, be content with a 4th place, and just kind of play the points game, because this is only the first race of the chase, and a 4th place finish will still be a great finish here tonight, especially with the fact, considering the fact that AJ Rogers is not in chase contention. So he is basically the 3rd place chase driver at this point. And now we have Paquette up high. We've got the 13 low trying to make a move, and look at that 81 maybe taking a look at the 96. Al Smith trying to follow Fortin through, gets a big fishtail off of turn 4. Paquette gonna lose the ground to Fortin and going to be able to slam the door shut on that 96 machine. He's going to maybe take a look on the high side coming off of 2. Bit of a wiggle from that 13, able to catch it. Oh, Paquette into the wall.
Drivers are sensing that it is the end of the race, and they are abusing their tires, trying to get everything they can out of them. The 96 Al Smith going to tuck in behind the 33 of Hugo for the moment, but the 81 of Jimmy Mcintyre, he might be the one that sneaks through and gets around all these guys.
Yeah, Mcintyre, one of our chase drivers, trying to get some points out of this thing, but at the same time, Paquette and Smith, they may not be in the chase, but they are battling for the Best of the Rest award as our top non-chase drivers. Those two guys are just absolutely on each other. I mean, we saw Smith had an opportunity to pass Paquette. He was on his inside, but coming through turn 4, Paquette just got right down to the front end of Al Smith. Did not allow Al to really track out of that corner and get the power down. Now here comes Al on the outside.
Al Smith in the 96 taking a peek to the outside. That's going to open the door for the 81 Jimmy Mcintyre if this doesn't work. But the 96, outstanding run down the front stretch. Here comes the 33 of Hugo to battle back on the inside in turn number 1, and Al going way up high through 1 and 2.
And Al Smith running that high line. We haven't really seen anyone run it tonight, but he's running it well. As he was fantastic through turns 3 and 4 that last lap. We'll see if he's going to be how much ground he's going to gain this time. And there it is. He's going to be able to make the pass happen. As that outside line looks great out of turns 3 and 4, but 2 laps to go. Looking back up at our lead, Steph Marinak, it is his race to lose at this point, as he has got a half a second lead over Justin Macduff. And as he rounds turns 3 and 4, he's going to get the white flag this time.
Steph Marinak off of turn number 4, white flag in the air for the URL fueled by Verge Arts Barbershop 125. Final time around this ISM Raceway. Marinak looking for his 3rd win of the season and a statement to open up our chase with a victory. Here comes Marinak. Macduff trying to catch him, not going to be able to do it. Marinak off of turn number 4, checkered flag gonna wave, and Steph Marinak winning here tonight.
Fantastic driving from Marinak. We saw a lot of people struggling with grip, but you really didn't see that from the 2 machine. Marinak was able to save his tires and just have just a strong pace all the way from the start of the race to the finish.
So the 2 of Marinak coming around on the cool down lap onto the front stretch. And man, oh man, 3rd win of the season, the first one to get to 3 wins. Outstanding job by the 2 machine here tonight. Guys, we're gonna set up our post-race show. No one go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the ISM Raceway, where we just finished up the Arts Barbershop 125, and we're going to get right into it with our post-race interviews, starting first with our race winner, driver of the number 2, Steph Marinak. Steph, congratulations on your win here tonight.
Thanks, man. It was a tough race. Good race there with Justin. He made me work for it there at the end, but that's a great way to start out the chase. You know, I think we'll have the points lead tonight, and hopefully we can keep it going here.
Well, it looked like a lot of these guys were struggling for grip out there, but yours was one of the few cars that seemed planted throughout the whole night. What did the track kind of feel like to you?
It was very slick on exit, so you really had to have a lot of throttle control. And I spent like the first third of the race working on that, just working on saving my tires on exit. And I think once I got around Justin, it felt like it got a little bit looser. I guess it was because I was in the clean air, but Yeah, just try to save my tires all race, and luckily there at the end, since I was doing that, it handled pretty okay.
And first race of the chase, and you come away with the win. How much does that mean for you going forward to the rest of this chase?
It's huge. I mean, unfortunately, with that incident with AJ on the first lap, a lot of my competition got knocked out. But I think Justin, my teammate's going to be really tough. Chris and maybe Bill and Joe will get back in it here after a few races.
All right, and looking ahead to the next race, Richmond Raceway, another one of the kind of larger tracks here on the schedule, kind of going back to back here with ISM. And what are you kind of expecting from that race from your end?
That's one of my favorite tracks, so I'm looking forward to it. I like the bigger tracks, and I have a lot of laps around Richmond, so that's probably the one race in the chase that I'm really looking forward to.
All right, Steph, I mean, you've been here a few times before. I'm sure you're no stranger to our process here. Congratulations once again on your win, but before we let you go, who do you wish to thank for your run here tonight?
Yeah, thank you guys for doing the broadcasts, and just shout out to my teammates at Empire Racing Team, Justin, Chris, and AJ. It's been a really fun season.
All right, congratulations, Steph, and hopefully we hear from you again a few more times throughout this chase.
I hope so. Thanks.
That was Steph Marinak, driver in the number 2 race winner here tonight. Now moving on, I believe KR is going to catch up with our second place finisher.
I have caught up with our second place finisher, and that is the Justin Macduff. Justin, you led a 27 laps out here tonight, made a quick move on Chris Stump. Tell us a little bit about your race out there and what it means to open this chase up in second place.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure what to expect on the start there, and then craziness ensued right off of turn 2 there with AJ getting loose, and I thought I was done for when he came back across the track, but I think he just missed me. So I had a little bit of luck to start the night, something I've lacked in the chase in the past when I've been good enough to qualify for it. So yeah, I was pretty good there. I thought I was actually pretty equal to Steph. I made one mistake. Well, I made a couple mistakes in back-to-back laps, let him get to me, and then I made the one mistake and he got by me. And after that, it was just like I would gain a little bit and he would pull away a little bit. And then towards the end there, I tried to move up and experiment and try to get a run on him. It just wasn't happening. So yeah, it's definitely a good way to start the chase. I really wanted to win this one because Arts Barbershop sponsored it. And obviously they're mine and AJ's sponsor, so it would have been really cool to win this race. But wasn't meant to be tonight, but it's a really good point tonight, and we'll move on.
Well, the 20 machine scoring a solid points night with that second place. 5 races to go in the chase. How much do you have to ramp up what you come out here to do on a weekly basis in the chase versus the playoff or versus the regular season? Sorry.
Well, I don't know. I don't feel like I really do anything differently. It's kind of just business as usual because I feel like in the past, I think I've made 2 chases before, and I've had really bad luck in both of them, and I always put a lot of pressure on myself. But coming into this one, I try to just loosen up a little bit, and there's some really good tracks for me on the schedule in this chase. So I really don't approach it any differently. Maybe you're a little more aggressive. If you have a chance to fill a hole, you might take that chance. But luckily, I didn't really get put in that spot tonight. So, but we'll see what happens going forward.
All right, man. Well, again, congratulations on second place out here tonight. Any shout outs or thank yous?
Yeah, I got to thank the usuals, Arts Barbershop, and thank them for sponsoring tonight's race. Cerebral Palsy Foundation, Excel Pay, and Excel Trip. I got to thank Verge for sponsoring the series. Thanks to you guys. You guys do a great job. Thanks to my teammates at Empire Racing Team, and congrats to Steph. And I want to give an honorable mention to AJ Rogers because the iRacing invert was messed up, and he would have started on the pole. And I think if he would have started on the pole, he might have had something to say about this one, but unfortunately, iRacing kind of threw a wrench into that for him, but he rallied for a good finish, and yeah, it was a good night.
All right, man. Justin, nice job out there. And again, congratulations on second place.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, Kelly, and I believe you've got our third place finisher as well.
Yeah, caught up here with AJ Rogers. AJ, you're the only driver in the top 5 not in the chase. I mean, is that going to be kind of a reoccurring theme throughout the chase? You're going to just be out there every week trying to play spoiler?
Pretty much. I mean, why not? Let's have a little fun. When I have good runs, it seems like I can pull off good ones. When I have bad weeks, it comes in groups, and I just can't seem to get ahead. But a lot of fun running with these guys. Enjoy it. Really looking forward to hopefully having some momentum carrying on to the next season. But right now, definitely going to see if I can play spoiler a little bit.
And I mean, we heard from Steph that the track was very slick, especially on exit. I mean, in your seat, how hard was it to try to save tires here tonight?
It was very tough, especially coming up out of 2. The car just wanted to. I could get into 1 really well, but the car you just didn't have any grip up off the corners, and just saving tires. And I could watch the 2 in front of me just leave me, and me and Chris running there nose to tail, and I could see him get loose, and you pretty much just had to wait for the guy in front of you to make a mistake to drive around anybody. And other than that, I'm pretty happy with the run. I can't complain. And thank you all for putting this on.
And we still have a couple more races left in the season. We got Richmond, Southern National Motorsports Park, Lanier, and New Smyrna. Out of those tracks, which is kind of one that jumps out to you as kind of the race you're going to be good at?
It's either going to be Richmond or New Smyrna. I like both of those tracks. Hate Southern National, but we'll show up and deal with that later. But looking forward to Richmond next week and definitely New Smyrna.
All right, AJ, you had a good run here tonight. 3rd place. Who do you wish to thank for this run here tonight?
Well, everybody that puts this on, allowing me to come, all my sponsors, Dixie Products, my team, Wheeling and Dealing, RBRC, Midwest Power Source, and just the Verge for sponsoring the whole series as a whole, and y'all for doing such a great broadcast.
All right, AJ, thank you very much for coming out and talking to us, and congratulations again on your 3rd place finish here tonight, and maybe we'll hear from you again next week.
I sure hope so. Maybe next time I'll get the draw on the pole like I was supposed to have, because the last time I had the pole, I ended up winning that race. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll definitely see, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
That was AJ Rogers, our 3rd place finisher here tonight. KR, I think this ended up being a fantastic race.
Yes, it was. Upstate Racing League, first time at ISM Raceway, did not disappoint. We saw outstanding battles throughout the entire field. 3 race leaders here tonight. Chris Stump leading for 9 laps, Justin Macduff leading for 27, and Steph Marinac coming home with the race win after leading 42 laps. Can't ask for much better than that. And next week, we're going to head to Richmond.
Yeah, Richmond should be an interesting race. I mean, it's essentially the same racetrack as Iowa. They were kind of, both those tracks are kind of based on each other. I honestly don't remember which one came first. I don't remember which one is based off the other, but they're 2 very similar racetracks and should produce very similar racing. And Iowa, if I remember correctly, to open this season, ended up being a fantastic race. So I'm excited to come back next week and watch.
For sure, Iowa always puts on a good show. Richmond won't disappoint us either. Nothing left but our results here tonight. Steph Marinac in the 2 machine, bringing home the race win. Justin Macduff in the 20, finishing 2nd. 3rd, going to AJ Rogers. Chris Stump bringing it home in 4th place, with Guillaume Fortin finishing in 5th.
Al Smith Jr. comes home in 6th, just 1 spot away from his first top 5 of the season. Hugo Paquette coming home in 7th. Jimmy Mcintyre finishes in 8th. Brian Rogers in 9th. And Brad Carpenter starts 10th, finishes 10th.
The 11th place driver going to be Jeremy Carpenter. Jeremy Watkins, the first car 1 lap down, finishing in 12th place. 13th going to Matt Roll. 14th, the first victim of the night, Joe Schaefer. In 15th, Bill Martin. Scott Austin 16th, and AJ Hamill gonna finish in 17th here tonight at ISM Raceway. So guys, thank you very much for joining us. And Kelly, before we go, any final thoughts?
I I think we've pretty much covered everything there is to cover. It's a fantastic race tonight, and hopefully these guys bring that same energy and momentum next week to Richmond. And if they do, it's going to be another amazing race to watch.
That it is. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you all enjoyed the show, and we will see you next week.
Bowling brings people together.
Good job.
Do what you can do, man.
Wait.
That's a strike right there.
Connect with family and friends. Go bowling.